It
what?
says actual recording. Yeah, do. Do.
Okay.
Look at us graduating.
Yeah. Old dogs learning new tricks.
Yeah, that part was good, my guy.
I think this is like it's live one, but uh, what is our joint? What episode we on? Like 35 or something?
36,
36?
37. Yeah, something like that, bro.
Let me see. I'm about to see right now. Open. Oh no. Yep, we on episode 36.
Look at us.
That's what I'm saying, bro. We moving up in the world. All
Still got,
right,
still got
so
a long way to go.
yo, where you at right now?
Shit. Georgia's first capital, Savannah.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to all my Geechee Gullas tuned in. You know, we here.
Baby, let's go. What do we got? All right, you down in Georgia, so let's start with this Georgia video.
Oh, man.
I'm assuming it's a Georgia state. Uh,
Most of the fuckery be in Georgia.
this shit was hilarious. Let me see. Share. Let's share this bad boy.
It already looks dumb.
So this is a protest.
Now, was this the protest that took place on Emory last year?
I don't know. I think this was a pro-Palestine. I
Yeah,
think
I
this
think
is
so. This
recently.
happened at Emory University, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So let's see.
You're hurting me! Just go lift. You're hurting me! Ow! 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 Help! Help! Ow! You're hurting me! You're hurting me! Help!
Yeah, bro, I'm not hurting my back for nobody.
I mean, that looked normal for him. He didn't even look like
Yeah, yeah. You know, I used to be that guy. I used to be that guy.
yeah.
Not anymore. Not
He,
anymore. I'm not hurting my back for nobody.
he didn't look like he bust a sweat on that joint. It was like, yo, that whole dropping down to remind me of that other video with the fat chick at the bank where it's like, yo, you just gonna make your weight dead weight and you
Yeah,
think that's gonna
yo,
stop something.
and that's what they always do, bro. That dead weight. They always want to drop down. It's like, come on, yo, come the fuck on. Oh, now
Yo,
now your lower limbs don't work. Okay, okay. That's the you still going to jail.
I'm just like, yo,
In jail because we're fat.
like I really, as somebody that's been arrested multiple times, I'm like, yo, if you doing shit that might get you arrested, you might as well already have, like money for bail or, a lawyer or something of that magnitude. That's not gonna that you're not gonna win that battle right there ever. Like once you already detained and all that, there ain't no talking their way out of it. At least
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
so what it looks like to me is that these are just people who have never dealt with any type of consequence. So they're not even thinking that far ahead because they never been held accountable at any other point in their lives.
so
That's just my take on it.
this just reminds me of those activists. We be seeing those videos around the world, uh, where we got those videos around the world where people be protesting, doing the whole climate protest, sitting in front of the cars, not letting the cars drive by, causing all sorts of traffic. And then you see the drivers get up out there and yank these motherfuckers, toss them to the side, like, yo, watch out. Because it's like, yo, there got to be a better way for you to make a difference. That's not it. All this protesting, like what I don't even understand, because these are obviously, this is not a black protest, right? And I don't understand why other people, if protesting did anything, black people would be in a better position. So we obviously have proven that protesting is irrelevant. Like that's not moving the needle at all.
Well, no, I wouldn't necessarily say it doesn't move the needle, but what it in
In
my
this manner,
well, but what it does is it brings awareness. That's literally what these type of protests do. They bring awareness to the powers that be. But as far as making any substantial changes, no.
yo.
Yeah, he definitely played football. That's how we used to hit the bag. Look, perfect. You see how he wrapped around and all of
Yeah,
that. Perfect, perfect technique.
yo,
That
that
was one
joint's
of my finishing moves when I used to be on the streets. Actually, I used to do the Goldberg. I hit him with the
yo, he
Goldberg.
brought
I hit
back
him.
Goldberg.
I hit him with the Goldberg.
Ah man, Bill Goldberg, that was a joint. Yo, wrestling used to be it.
Goldberg was that dude.
Yo, but yeah, back to your earlier point though. What form of protesting you think is effective? Because I don't think any of it is actually effective
Well, I
unless
mean,
like
yeah,
this type of protesting.
it just causes awareness of them being upset about whatever they're upset about. But like I said, as far as any substantial changes being made, it's not going to be made from people setting up tents or breaking into stuff and holding things hostage. I did a whole paper on that, bro. I did a whole paper on the First Amendment and college protests and compared it through multiple eras, including the most recent Israel Hamas, um, you know,
Conflict.
pretty much.
Yo, you know what's crazy is that go back to the Soul Book in with Vietnam during the Vietnam uh, protesting and the civil rights movements and all of it during these times, it was the same kind of thing. It was just like this whole liberal wave where it's showing you because when I see all these people that got time to be protesting and all that, what this tell me is like this is a lot of people right here that are unemployed because
Yeah,
they got time for that. You
yeah,
know what I'm
or
saying?
that is their employment
Then there's that. You know what I'm saying?
because
Then
you do
there's
have
that.
paid actors. Did you hear about the paid actors at the Diddy trial? They paying
Oh
them $20 to wear the shirts.
man, cut it out.
Was like $20 an hour to stand outside the court and wear the free diddler shirts.
Yo, that's funny. I ain't see that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man.
Yo,
Or
that,
what we say allegedly paid actors.
yo. But look, all right. So let me see what else we got here. They protesting. Let's look at this right here, yo. Because Trump brought some South Africans over here. and we're in an uproar. Uh, there's plenty of people in an uproar, but us as black people, we're especially in an uproar. And
Yeah.
I'm at a loss as to why we're in an uproar. Like I don't understand it.
No, it's really not a. It's not anything to be lost about. You already know why. You already know why.
All right, let's see. Listen, man. I love the fact that she's on CNN.
Oh,
You know
your
what I'm
girl?
saying? Yeah, I love the fact she on CNN. I love the fact that Scott is on CNN too, because it's like this creates content right here. Let's see what she said.
You not showing? You sharing the screen?
Oh, hold up.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see. There we go. My bad. This is what I'm talking about.
And part of that is that the people who are native to that land deserve their rightful land back. That is not what the Afrikaners actually want to have happen, which are the white Africans, and so who are not originally from Africa, who colonized South Africa also. And so that is what they are saying is discrimination. Now, if the constitution in South Africa is discriminatory, they have their checks and balances in that land, just like we do. And that is for them to. So if the Afrikaners don't actually like the land, they can leave that country.
They are. They're leaving to come here.
No, they can
These
leave and
refugees are
go.
coming here.
They can actually leave and go to where their native land is, which is probably Germany.
Are you
or
against them coming here?
Holland? Probably. Holland.
Yo, the irony of all of this is like, all right, yo, you saying Africa for the Africans, right?
Yeah.
But then you're turning around and saying you got to leave, but I also need to dictate where you get to go.
Mm-hmm. Sounds
I,
about right.
I don't understand that.
Sounds about right.
Yo, like,
We,
go ahead, go ahead.
I mean, over the years, we've allowed many people to come into this country, both black and white. What I will say is what I've seen, um, just in my day to day and interactions with people who have come in, it's probably a more streamlined process for individuals who come from certain areas. I remember being on South Beach and my server, I was eating breakfast. My server was a white dude from, well, when I say white, European. And I forgot which country he was from. It was an Eastern European country. And, we were talking and he was just sharing his journey and like it seemed to be, in a pretty decent space as far as being acclimated to, being able to have the ability to work, get some money and all of that, which is great. Even, growing up, we always had, I always tell people being from New York is why I'm cool with like every culture because we went to school with like every culture. We all our classmates were like from everywhere. And I remember back in the early 90s, early to mid 90s, when we first started having Ukrainian refugees come into our communities, and we had Ukrainian classmates. Like, I remember that from when I was a child. I remember having Vietnamese kids that came into our schools, so Um, I don't necessarily have a issue with allowing the Afrikaners to come in, but there's going to be some backlash because other groups don't necessarily have that streamlined process, and
All
then that's
right.
when it gets a little murky.
So as I was listening to what you were saying, it just had me thinking of your passport. You get easier entry into certain countries depending on the passport that you have.
Hmm.
These are things that are well above our pay grade of
Hmm.
passport users and flying around and all this. These delve into international relations,
Yeah.
right? And I don't have an issue with them streamlining it for some people, making it more difficult or seemingly more difficult for others because that's what you're supposed like to me that's running the country like a corporation. You know what I'm saying? Like you want anybody that could easily acclimate themselves to your culture that is already in existence, regardless of whatever anybody, oh, yo, it's this white power culture. I don't give a fuck what the culture is. Any country, it would behoove you to make it easier for people who can get acclimated to your culture and your way of doing things faster than those that are going to come in maintaining their culture. Like that only makes logical sense. You
Yeah.
know, so we could argue of the culture, what the culture is, and all that. But a lot of the times when I hear people complaining, I'm like, yo, you just complaining because you ain't got no chips. Like I know what it's like to be broke. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, you are upset because you broke, and it don't matter where you at financially. You broke, whether you broke monetarily, you broke in the power structure. You know what I'm saying? But you broke, and you swinging at those in power just because, but you don't really know what you're swinging at.
So my initial thought when I saw this, right, because like you just said, it's a power play. It's a power play in a sense, like you said, to strengthen the agenda and the course of which you're trying to take this country. So I think this adds to where Trump's administration is trying to take this country, where they're trying to get back to a more conservative, family focused type of existence in this country. I think because the culture has been so watered down, it's like a large gray area, and it's like nobody knows what their role is or how things should be done. It's kind of like everybody's just doing whatever the fuck they want to do. But I immediately thought about the Biden Harris administration when Kamala was going on this world tour through the continent, pushing trans and gay rights to these different countries, right? So that might have not been necessarily as far as like focusing on refugees per se, but it was a power play and it was a cultural play. So I look at this and this is a cultural play, similar, slightly different, but similar as far as the cultural aspect of it, pushing a certain agenda to a group of people or bringing in a group of people into the fold to add to it. And that's literally what they were trying to do when they were pushing the trans and gay stuff in those multiple African countries.
Yep.
So like that's kind of the angle that I took because I'm just thinking about the power play and the cultural aspect of it of what's trying to be accomplished.
Yeah. Listen, man, we are so concerned with things that is of no concern to us. Like, we literally are against 8,000 refugees or however many they brought in, and uh, and then at the same time we're in support of the party that is hemorrhaging funds behind illegal immigration. Like I just don't even understand that. Like this shit just kind of remind me of the I just saw that shit with Tory Lanez, where it said that the dude who stabbed him up was getting donations. They raised money for him because, or
Mm.
Meg's supporters raised money to put on his books. But the dude is in jail for like killing a 13-year-old little girl. You know what I'm saying? Like we live in a space where our people are just mad just because we gotta have something to be mad at. And it's like, yo, if you get all that anger about your system, you might be able to accomplish something because we see other people accomplishing shit. It's not impossible. We
Yeah.
looking at it. You know what I'm saying? Like we seeing people with nothing make something. But look, then we have shit like this.
Oh boy. It already looks dusty.
It looked dusty. I had to put it up because it looked dusty.
Yeah, automatically it looks dusty. Like even before you start playing it.
Yo,
I need y'all to realize what Trump just did. He brought 8,000 white people out here from South Africa, not because they need refuge, not because they need asylum. It's because he knows these 8,000 white South African motherfuckers are racist. He knows they finna come over here and they're gonna be blatantly racist, thinking that they still in South Africa. But these 8,000 racist motherfuckers is gonna find out the hard way. They're gonna fuck around and find out. You can't talk that shit over here on our soil. So what's gonna happen is
Oh
that
no,
these
tough
people are
enough.
gonna start getting their ass whooped because they think it's okay to talk to us any old kind of way like they did out there in South Africa. Then we start lumping motherfuckers up because they don't know how to talk to black people in America. Oh, here comes another executive order. Here comes another executive order to protect white people, just like they do Asians, just like they do the Jewish. Watch what I tell you. All these racist white South Africans that were brought here to America are going to be talking their shit. A lot of them going to get lumped up. Then the news going to spread. Oh my God, black people are hurting South Africans. This has to be racist. Executive order. I dare a black person to put their hands on another white person. It'll be considered a hate crime. Just watch. This is exactly what's happening. Remember, he wants chaos. This is how you create chaos.
bro.
It looked like his breath smelled like hot garbage.
It definitely smelled like Newports.
Yeah,
Minimum.
and Henny.
Yo, so the issue that I have with this, I had to go to uh, my joint.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I got my highlights in. So
I
Soul
forgot you was
wrote,
reading that book.
yeah, I'm pretty much done. I got like maybe I'm about a quarter away from finishing it. Uh, he said many blacks during the 1960s and later, this is the later, were inordinately impressed with strident loudmouths whose chief claim was that they stood up to the white man. I was never really impressed by such credentials and certainly did not regard them as a substitute for knowing what you are talking about.
This your boy's approach. This guy right here with the and he had a ring on, so I'm gonna assume that he's married. He has a woman. He probably has children too, maybe grandchildren. But
Yeah.
this is such a low level perspective.
Yo,
Such a low level perspective.
bro, this dude, listen, here's the issue that I have with all of this is America is so big and he's so poor, he's never gonna come in contact with these 8,000
And honestly, if
refugees.
he did, he ain't gonna do nothing.
He wasn't gonna have any of this energy.
Nah, not at
Even his
all.
logic,
He gonna talk tough to his lady.
even his logic is faulty. His logic is faulty because he's saying that, yo, they're gonna come here and be outwardly disrespectful to black
No, they're
people
gonna
who,
come here and try to get to that money.
yo, that.
That's what they're gonna try to do.
But I'm like, literally, they just left their home. Like they just left everything
They trying to
that
get
they've known.
they're gonna try to get established because they are refugees of a certain community, certain country. They're gonna pretty much join together and actually what we my man Yui's the communal aspect, what was it referred to as?
What?
Just the communal, when we build as a community. It was a term that UEP knew and used throughout. Slipped my mind a little bit, but
I can't
they're
remember, but I'll
they're
fill it
gonna
in the
lean on each
recording.
other. They're gonna lean on each other to establish themselves here and get to this money and take care of their families. That's what, honestly, most people come over here and that's what they try to do. Except the ones who want to fucking rape and pillage and be fucking deviants. But that's already because they was doing that shit in their own countries.
Yo,
So the other part, right? So the other angle that I thought about, right? Let's move away from this dusty shit. The other angle that I thought about when it came to these refugees was this was also a play on South Africa's current government and showing them that, yeah, what you're doing is not acceptable by at least the US as far as US standards. And by no means is the US the damn litmus when it comes to that because the US don't be treating its people all the way correctly either.
100%. It
But
ain't all the way correct. We be
yeah,
this
yeah,
country
yeah,
been
yeah,
fucked up
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah. And look, right? So the thing is, because we have a lot of smoke from people in these comments about the content that we're putting out, about the conversation that we're having. And the truth of the matter is, we're not denying that some of these things exist. They exist. We're reading these books. There's things that are currently plaguing the black community that was written and discussed 70, 80, 90 years ago. That's still happening today. So, do we continue to deflect and look outside of our community at people who are doing what we expect them to do? Or do we actually look at ourselves and say, how the fuck can we change this and build our communities up? Because why should another generation have to go through what three, four, five generations went through already?
that, and I mean, you got to look at it like this. We can't do anything to change the past, but what we can do is acknowledge the fact that we have way more resources available to us than any of our predecessors. And because of that, it's like you have the resources available to you to create a better future. You can't do anything about the past. So sitting there crying about it, what had happened was, it's like we got a whole culture of who hurt you, individuals. It's like everybody just running around hurt. It's like, yo, man, get that out your system. How do
Yeah,
we
and
get better?
the
How,
and what I identify with this dude right here is, you know what's hurt about this dude? His fucking pockets. This nigga's poor, man.
yeah,
He's poor
yeah,
because that's what you concerned about.
yeah.
Instead of, yo, honestly, if you're a business minded person, you know 8,000 new motherfuckers is coming in here, foreign land. What does this community need? What products will they need? What is their lifestyle like on a day to day? What are the things that they're going to be spending money on?
Well, you know what? He can't do that. And the reason why he can't do that is because he's still trying to circulate the black dollar.
He don't even got no dollars.
Yeah, he trying to circulate the black dollar in the black community, and he doesn't realize the fallacy of that. In that there's not, it's not even that there's not enough money in the black community. It's like literally the money in the black community is already exhausted. So seeing as it's exhausted, you got to get this to circulate money in the black community. You got to get the money out of the strip clubs, out of alcohol, out of the clubs, out of designer, out of the luxury cars, like out of the trips, the fucking the BBLs, the body job, all you gotta get the money out of all that to circulate the dollars, the jewelry,
And
all of
so,
these things that the the supplier or the producer are not black. So if you're not at that point, you're not going to be able to circulate the money. At some point, it goes back out of the community. So all this, oh, we got to make stuff for black people and we got to do stuff for black people. It's like, no, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. This is America. Like, you're supposed to be making businesses for Americans. If I went to China, I would be figuring out how I can be enterprising in China. What need can I serve in China? It's like, I'm gonna make an American-based business in China that doesn't serve to the Chinese needs. That doesn't make any logical sense. So,
now you can, and I don't have an issue with you highlighting some niches that are in the community.
for sure,
So yeah, of course, do your thing. Yeah, there's gonna be things that culturally blacks might consume differently than other groups.
for sure.
So that's not an issue. But to just totally ostracize yourself by categorizing yourself as black owned, or black woman owned, and da 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 da, and I get it. You're proud. Yes, yes. You've been disenfranchised over the years. Yes, but it's like, come on. We have to graduate at some point. It's kind of similar to that venture capitalist cap, venture capitalist group that was funding black women businesses, and I believe went to court, and the court placed an injunction on them, so they currently cannot conduct any business. They currently cannot fund any projects, and I'm not sure when they're going to go actually back to court. But the reason why that happened is because you placed a target on your back by designating funds to black women businesses, solely designating funds to these organizations or these startups. And it's like, even if that was your intention, you can't actually be blatant about it like that, because it does come off discriminatory. And you can't carry out the same things that you complain about.
Yep. Because basically, all it is I felt left out. And since I felt left out, I should be able to leave you out for a while so I can catch up. And I always equate this to because the white boys was playing baseball for longer in the major leagues for longer than the black players. Now, when the black players are integrated and Jackie Robinson comes in, we need every time we hit a triple, it needs to be a home run counted for us because we have ground to make up. So every time we get to third base, that's a run for us because we're black. And it's like, how do you prove you're equal by asking to be treated like you have a handicap? Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
But you know why it makes sense is because of the administrations. The
Well,
administrations
yeah,
that was in is
they
putting
feed
these
into
things
it.
in place, yep, to make you feel handicapped and for you to accept your handicap. This is why we got this whole culture right now of these victims, yo. Like, speaking of, because as a matter of fact, she said, not me. Let's see.
Hate when people talk about black women being obese. I hate it because it becomes a way to blame us for a set of conditions that we didn't create. We are living in the Trump era. And look, those policies kill our people. And what public health practitioners think is that our stress responses in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that the racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
So she fat because of Trump.
Trump only been the president. Trump been the president for, I guess, if we include this term, is 5 years, and not even a full 5 years.
And she got crevices that haven't been cleaned in 5 years, right? So we know that her
Yo,
fat.
so the bigger problem is all of these women in the audience. They know that that shit sounded absurd, and none of them batted an eye. Nobody opposed it. Nobody. They just sat there. And this is the problem that I have with women not holding each other accountable. Because this happens, this right here is a reflection of what happens day in and day out with our women. They will literally sit there, see their friends crash the fuck out, see their friends make piss poor decisions, see their friends live unhealthy lifestyles, but yeah, and still they'll they'll give them affirmations, they'll manifest things over them, and it's like, no, not saying that you can't do that, but if they're doing something that's detrimental to them or their family, you need to be honest with them and say, yeah, sis, that ain't it.
Yo, you know my thing is I feel like fat people don't have friends
Sheesh.
because if you're my friend and I'm able to, and I'm in the vicinity of you and all that, if and I don't need to exercise or I don't need necessarily to increase it as a friend, I'm gonna do that because yo, I value your life. You're you're headed down the wrong path. You're looking like we might not grow old together. So if we're friends, I need to be actively trying to do something to change the trajectory that you on. And when I see this, it's like it's a cry out for help. Like she fat and she's looking for a reason to remain fat
Yeah, it's somebody else's
so
fault.
that yeah, she has to lay the blame somewhere else. And while also faking confidence. You know what I'm saying? Like she fronting like she's confident, and we know she's not.
We always know. We
Like
always know.
that can't feel good. You cannot feel healthy. You cannot be fat with rolls on top of rolls and feel like, you are your best self. That doesn't that it's impossible.
And that's the biggest thing with me, especially with my background, having been a personal trainer. Uh, it was never really about the aesthetics of it. I mean, that is a byproduct of it, but it's always been about the quality of life because you don't know what life will throw you throughout your life. And if you're struggling on just a regular day with your health, when life throws its curveballs, i.e., COVID, we just went through a whole entire pandemic, and the people who lost their lives, they already mostly had underlying conditions, and that was on a major scale. So it's like, yeah, okay, cool. We're not always going to have our best days. Things happen, there's challenges, but you got to get to it. You got to get to it and you got to stop making excuses. I get up every day. Some days ain't the best, but I get up every day and I tell myself I'm going to be better today than I was the day before. And that can look different each day. It depends. But we got to stop fucking making excuses. And I need my women to do better. I need my women to actually look after one another, take care of yourself. Because truthfully, we need you here, but we need you here in your healthiest condition. Because if you're not healthy physically, it's going to have an impact on other areas of you, i.e., your emotional, i.e., your spiritual, i.e., your mental. Which is why we have women out here who all they could do is just shake their asses. They mental fucked up.
Yo,
Because if that's the only attributes you could actually contribute to society, you ain't good for nothing. So don't be mad when you're objectified.
I look
Because
at
you're
that,
already doing it to yourself.
bro. I look at that and I'm like, yo, all of what you just said, but beyond that, I'm like, yo, you lying to yourself. Like, you're lying to yourself, knowing you're lying to yourself, and accepting the lie. Like, that got to be a whole different level of delusion to feel like, yo, the elections and the emotional impact of said elections and of who the leader is of the free world is factoring into you being fat. Like, this is
Yeah,
what
that's a
yo,
major cop out.
honestly, when I look at that, I'm like, yo, I'm not saying that it's not playing any role, but it's not in the top 100, right? Like,
I
we
got
know,
99 problems, but that ain't one.
yeah, like, we know that if you are on stage right now complaining about not being able to lose weight because of the emotional impact that it has, it's like, yo, could you imagine what skipping a meal would do? Could you imagine with eating better foods? Could you imagine with going to the gym, going for walks? When people are that kind of weight, you will lose weight just walking. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, you're
Word.
gonna lose, and that's a lot of weight. You know what I'm saying? Like, to shit. Like, I mean, she was sitting on top of herself. So, and again, she's saying this while somebody next to her is not fat. That's a black woman. Like, I don't even understand that when
And
she
that
was
black
talking.
and that black woman just sat there quiet.
Hey,
Yeah, hold on, yo. She ain't say nothing. They let this go. Look at this. Come on now. This is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Real
look at
stupid.
this, yo.
Yeah,
Come
that's
on,
oof.
yo. And
That can't
and
you
this is what
can't
I,
you can't have a good quality of life looking like that.
yo. You not only that, I'm like,
Like even down to your sleeping. I'm
yo,
pretty sure she struggles with sleep. She probably has sleep apnea.
Yo, this look like this is a smaller example of what we do as black people. Like we look and say the reason why we're broke is because of racism or because of white people. Or if you just a liberal, it's because of these rich oligarchs.
Yeah,
And it's
that
like,
part.
yo, that's the reason you broke? Like for real, that's really the reason that you broke is because these people are saying, yo, you will not work a second job. You will not work overtime. You will not save money. You will not invest. Like these people is really saying that's what you are not going to do. They got that kind of power to prevent you from leveling yourself up.
Yo, bro, give me
From
1 second, all right?
yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. All right, what else we got up on here? Let me see. One, two. Oh, your joint doing the most.
I know. It's doing way too much.
Um, all right. Well, speaking of the police, let's.
What the police do now, man?
Yo,
Oh, sugar, honey, iced tea.
Good afternoon, all. I am Major Stephanie Minter Gibson, and I oversee the Crime Victims Unit for the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office. Once I was notified about the escapees, I immediately gathered a team of experienced staff and we started calling victims and survivors just to make sure that they are aware of what was going on and that they are safe. For the records that had no information, I immediately reached out to our partners. Partners such as NOPD Special Victims Unit, Detective Walton, who was very grateful in helping us, and she provided us with other information that we were able to call those families and help them as well. Once we finished the first batch of victims, we started calling the second batch. And actually, the reason why I'm saying that is because I separated them. The chief from the DA's office, victims, Alison Morgarder, reached out to me, and we both were calling victims. What she had and I did not have, we shared information, and we both gathered all the information, and we made sure all victims were aware of what was going on. Most of the victims were very grateful for the calls. They graciously thanked us. We additionally sent our detectives to their homes for more safety measures, and that alone speak measures. I strongly encourage all to educate the community on the importance of Vine Link. This is a free app that is listed online, and it is also a guide for victims and survivors to track offenders while they navigate the criminal justice system. The number for Vine is 1 800 277 7477. I'm sorry.
bro.
Mm-hmm.
Salute to my sister from. She sounds like she's from the Caribbean.
She
And
definitely is.
yo, this this is hilarious. Like she's talking about this like it's some run of the mill shit. Like you talk about all these killers escape from out of jail.
She said
And
they were gracious. They were gracious. They was like, what the fuck you mean they got out? That's what
yeah,
they were saying. What the fuck you mean they got out?
yo, she was so nonchalant with this joint. Yo, like this was crazy. This was crazy. Like this wouldn't give me any confidence if I was in that area and affected.
At all. At all. And then you're going into all of this detail about you calling the victim. Get these motherfuckers off the street.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
we worried about, man.
yo, that's that's wild, Joe. Like she said,
Yeah,
yo,
they
they
totally
were
failed.
gracious, and you know, I talked to the detective, and we shared information.
And they were willing to help in any way. Cause they was like, what the fuck you mean they got out? That's what they were
Yeah,
saying too.
that's what I'm saying, yo. 11 dudes out of there, yo, and you saw on the joints like they had wrote a whole bunch of shit on the way out. Catch me if you can. This was too easy.
Yeah. Spelling shit incorrectly because you know they
Yeah,
all illiterate anyway.
yo. Nah, they not illiterate. Remember, buddy, in the comments, he said that.
Oh, they just they're not proficient. That's what he said. They're not proficient, right? That doesn't mean that they can't read. They're just not proficient in reading comprehension.
I tell you who know if they could read or not. Ask the shorties, cause all these shorties know. They be with
Oh,
them dudes that be reading with they finger under each word and shit. They know the motherfuckers that can't read.
they baby daddies.
That's them.
That's their children's fathers.
But then they mad at us.
I would be mad at us too. Because how dare you think that you're any different from them?
Yo, what's crazy though is like we be in an uproar about a whole lot of stuff, and then I don't see this posted. I don't see people talking about this in our community because 8,000 white Afrikaners are more important here. But check this shit out because
We're showing up at
we
parking lot.
always say, you know, oh,
Up now.
they're inhuman, and all this shit, bro. You can see this joint.
No, it's because it's like you said, it's who hurt you.
Hmm.
And you know the thing is, a lot of black people don't even know the extent of the atrocities that took place during apartheid. Like not right now. Maybe the older ones knew while it was going on based off of what they were receiving, but what was going on to black people in apartheid South Africa was inhumane. It was fucking atrocious. I remember reading a book for one of my classes in undergrad, and the story that stood out to me the most was them describing white Afrikaners, or it was what was it, the IWB, I believe, in South Africa at the time that were the ones in power.
Shit, I don't know. I wouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't know. So if I misspoke, my apologies. It's been a while, but they actually put an electric probe in this woman's vagina and tortured her. Like that's the level of stuff that they were doing in apartheid South Africa.
So, in terms of the atrocities, I'm definitely aware of a bunch of atrocities. I mean, and I look at that, bro, and I'm like, I used to be there. You know, I used to have all that anger and oh, this was happening in the past, and I'm like, yo, they didn't die for me to keep crying over what they died about and how they died. Like I literally had to cross that bridge and say, yo, what they had to go through, what they suffered. was the same feeling I'm feeling as a father. I don't want my child to have to suffer the way that I had to deal with things. You know, I want them to be tough and have grit and all of that. But, yo, some of the things I had to deal with, I'd rather them not have to deal with that. They could skip that. I think that's the logical way of looking at it because we could cry forever if we want to sit and cry about the past. And I just can't do it. I can't do it with you. I see all these pages. Everybody just keep regurgitating the same shit. That's why I always go back to the Damian Marley joint. The struggle discontinued. You know, like I don't want to sing no songs about, the struggle lives on when I wish it would die and wither away. It's like, get over that shit, man. Move forward.
Well, you know
Build.
what though? To add to that, and real quick, it was the national party. It was the NP.
Oh, okay.
So, um, and this just came to mind as you were talking about the struggle discontinues. The struggle doesn't discontinue. I think we elevate in the struggle because there's different challenges that are going to be presented to us as we elevate. So not so maybe the same struggle discontinues, and this is just me just putting something different out there. Maybe it's just a different struggle because now we've elevated in our thoughts, we've elevated in our expectations for who we are. So those struggles actually also elevate as well.
So I think in Damian Marley will correct me if I'm wrong, but when he's saying that, and at least what I'm interpreting is this struggle that we keep tying back to oppression and
Yeah,
prejudice and racism and slavery and Jim Crow and all of that. It's like, yo, and to your point, we got so much struggle ahead. It's a real marathon that we got to run. That's a
yeah,
struggle in of itself. So imagine having to run a marathon in front of you while still carrying everything from behind you, or while looking back.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Busting your
insane.
ass because you looking behind you
Yeah,
when you need to be looking ahead.
straight up. It's your turn. This a relay race. It's your turn. Why are you gonna worry about who ran a slower race or who set you back, didn't give you a head start? What are we worried about that for, yo? Run
Yeah,
your leg. This what we doing.
exactly.
Let me play this my dude right here, yo.
We're showing up at parking lots, vacant homes, but we're not going to give up to everyone these kids are found. So we just found one 2 days ago, an example, 14-year-old little girl living with two adult males who trafficked her, and we found her she's pregnant from trafficking, being forced into prostitution. 14 years old. So we're taking care of her, both physically and mentally. Despite what the media says, we're not heartless. We care about these kids. I'm a father. And the reason I'm so emotional and so hard, headstrong on this issue, because I've dealt with dying children throughout my career. I've held dying children. I've held dead children. I taught the little girls as young as 9 that were raped multiple times by the criminal cartels. I'll never forget it. When you get on your knees to talk to a 9-year-old little girl, everything innocent and pure is ripped from her, and she don't believe in humanity anymore. Because you had a bunch of animals crawling on her, taking everything pure from her. You'll never forget it. That shit's happening every day through this trafficking. And we're going to put an end to it. Everything we can do. So 4 years waking up pissed off. I wake up now like a kid in the can.
Yo, listen, we both have daughters right there. These are things that's supposed to cross party lines. It's supposed to be universal in agreement and all of that. And it's just like, yo, we got all these people And this is my problem, yo, because I know that there has to be a balance, but I feel like there's an imbalance because you have all these people advocating, talking about what needs to happen, how things should happen from their utopian point of view or their idealistic point of view. And it's like, yo, you're arguing with people who've been on the front lines of this shit,
Yeah.
right? This just reminds me again to like your conversation with uh the real life in action, what happens versus what you learned in the book. You know, like what I learned in the book to become a stockbroker was nothing like real life out in the real world dealing with customers and potential clients and potential clients. You feel me? So I learned to respect experience and expertise in things before just feeling like, oh, because I read some things or, you know, I saw some things that I'm in the know. And we got too much of that where people are just feeling like they're supposed to have an opinion. This is the social media age. Everybody's supposed to be able to argue with this.
And everybody's in the same goddamn space. And truth is, there's walls and rooms for a reason.
Word.
And it's not a disrespectful thing. It's not a trying to minimize what people bring to the fold. But the truth of the matter is, there's levels to this. It's levels to this, yo. And so we started this podcast December, December 2024, and prior to that, we have been training. We have been training just in our day to day lives and what we were working on and doing, which is why we could have these conversations because we've been doing this. We've been doing the work. But had we not been doing the work, there would be no way that we could actually create this content where we would be moving our audience in the ways that we're moving our audience. Because our main goal is to empower our people and get them to start thinking a little differently. Because that cult like thought process that we've been running with as black people really has been harmful to a degree. So, not saying that there aren't good elements to what has gone on within the community. I love my people. I love our culture, but our culture has to make a major shift in order for us to continue to progress because we haven't progressed. We're actually regressing.
Yo, listen, man. I know we live and you know you be on your sweetheart stuff and
Oh,
all
here
that,
you
man.
go. Here you go, bro.
Cause our fucking culture is trash, man. Like our shit need to be like fucking recycled or something. This shit is trash. We the culture is dominated by people telling you that in order for you to be better, you need help. And the people who tell you, yo, we can go be better on our own, it's like bootlicker, Uncle Tom, uh,
Minstrel
your
show.
Coon Minstrel Show, the Two Idiots podcast.
Yeah.
We say we can do better, right? We know these things. You know, we got passport stamps, and you got people that ain't left a section that are telling us what's not possible, what's not happening. It just reminds me of like the Waymo cars out here, where I'm like, I had to call my cousin and on video and show him me in the car in the back seat with no driver in the driver's seat because these it's like, nah, that ain't possible because you don't see it. You know what I'm saying? This is the reality for the grand majority of our people is that because it's not right there in front of us, we need it right here, right now. in
Yeah.
order to believe these things. And I'm like, we have to go to the other side of it, right? When I'm in a Tesla and it's driving by itself, somebody had to envision these things so they saw it before it was actually in existence, and then they put the work in to bring it to light, only for 10 years to go by and people to still say, nah, that's not real, it's impossible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like, yo, we got to do better as a people, man. We got all these examples around us, and the boogeyman is not our enemy. The white man is not our enemy. The racist white man is not our enemy. Like that ain't our enemy. Like they have had zero impact on us if you are comparing it to our impact on us, right? Because they could be like, oh, when they kill those, 75 black men a year, that's a big deal because the police is supposed to serve and protect and all this. And it's like, yo, I don't want to hear this nonsense, yo. Like, we are our biggest enemy. So we have to save us. We can't look externally for outside people to come and save us. That's retarded anyway. How you gonna ask for the same people that you claim to be bullying you to also come save you?
Word.
Like, and yo, even what Buddy talk about, yo, we smashing on these 8,000, and it's like, yo, no, you're not, man. Like we are
Well,
not about that life.
at
I know
all.
we not about that life. We
Well,
talk,
we're about that life when it comes to each other.
oh, for sure, for sure, for
Well,
sure.
oh, when we come towards one another, yeah, all day, right?
Yo, and everybody know we not no threat. That's the
Oh,
crazy part
yeah,
about it,
right to
yo.
ourselves. We got that self
Yeah,
running through our veins.
yeah. Like, listen, the white people that we be thinking that, oh, yo, these people are far right extremists and they racist and this, that, and the other. The best thing you could do for them is to galvanize the moderates to believe that it's a race war and they have to choose crip or blood. You got to whatever section you in, that's your section. That's what it got to be. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and you're in no position to start a race war. So all this, yeah, yeah, we gotta, yeah, that shit over with. You gotta look past all that. We ain't bringing none of that back. That shit is done. I promise you. I dare somebody to prove me wrong. That shit is over with. The name of this game here is go get your fucking bag. Go get some fucking money and be smart with it. Invest it. Build up the shit that you want to see.
Take care of
That's
your
the black
fucking
power
family.
that need to
Take
happen.
care of your fucking family.
Word. Start there. Take care of your fucking fat ass health. This shit crazy, bro. But we already know every time. Everybody
What
that
we,
we
what we always say and how we end our shows, how
you
we
already
start
know.
our shows.
Actions is louder
Actions is louder.
every time. And boom.